It's playoff time in Oklahoma. The Alabama Crimson Tide visit Friday night. We got Locked On Crossover Edition coming at you.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Locked On Bama, Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making the Locked On Network the number one sports podcast network in the industry. He's Jimmy Stein of Locked On Bama. He's Jay Smith, and I'm John Williams of Locked On Sooners. And on today's show, we're going to break down everything that you need to know about this round one playoff game, getting Friday night lights, guys. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jimmy, as we get ready for this game, what's kind of top of mind for you and those that follow Alabama heading into Friday night?
Yeah, getting a little healthier. You know, Alabama, it's not an excuse. Georgia's a heck of a football team. Even if Alabama had been 100% health, there's no guarantee the game would go any differently than it did. But Alabama, especially offensively, was a really banged-up football team going into that game in Atlanta, where the starting running back, Jam Miller, he's out. The number 3 back, he's out. Jeremy Bernard, one of their top receivers, had missed the Auburn game the week before. He's playing banged up. Ryan Williams sort of been banged up all year long. The tight end, Josh Cuevas, who had a nice game against Oklahoma. First game, right? He's out. Danny Lewis, the second tight end, he's out. The center, Parker Brailsford's playing with a high ankle sprain, which is very difficult to play through. The left guard was out. I mean, all that happened in the offense, and then you're playing an elite defense like Georgia has. So it was kind of a mess for Alabama offensively. Now, the good news for Alabama is Alabama's going to be healthier in Norman. There's no question that's true. Probably not perfectly healthy, but I'm sure Oklahoma's not either. It's been a long season. You know, everybody's played 12, 13 games. So everyone's banged up. Again, not an excuse, but Alabama will have more all hands on deck that they did not have in Atlanta for the Georgia game. So that's what most of the conversation with Alabama has been is, you know, are you getting your guys back? And for the most part, that looks good. They will be missing LT Overton, who's, you know, an impactful defensive lineman. He's out for sure. He would probably be out for even an extended playoff run. But everybody else that was missing in Atlanta looks like they'll be back. Might be a little dinged up, but much healthier team than we saw the last time Alabama was on television.
Yeah, the latest availability report.
Go ahead.
Oh, so yeah, the latest availability report looked pretty good for Bama. Like I was going to say that's a lot better than I even anticipated. When I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm wondering who's going to be on there. But having Cuevas on there is questionable, and Danny Lewis, your 2 tight ends, is questionable. That's a lot better feeling than what we were thinking before this availability report dropped.
Yeah, Cuevas in particular is interesting because he did have a nice game against Oklahoma in round 1, 80 yards. That was a career high for him. He's been really important when teams have been able to get a lot of pressure on Ty. Cuevas has been a nice little safety valve for him, kind of a hot read. But he hurt his foot, and he's been out. He has been practicing this week. Now, my understanding is he's been limited in practice. And if he does play, it's probably not a 100% health type thing. But because the second tight end, Danny Lewis, has also been out, Alabama has leaned heavily on 2 true freshmen at tight end. Caleb Edwards, a true freshman from California, Marshall Pritchett, a true freshman from Georgia. They've been kind of carrying the load with Cuevas out. It's a lot to ask playing an elite defense. I mean, it's a lot to ask an 18-year-old, hey, you're going to have to help us with our Mason Thomas. I mean, that's a big ask. So it'll be a boost for Alabama to have Cuevas back. They're optimistic, but he is still a bit limited in practice.
Yeah, when you're dealing with feet, it's a day-to-day proposition because you could step wrong in your house, get tripped up on your ottoman, and strain that foot again, and it could be a problem. As you assess Alabama's offense over the last several weeks, heading in, out of the regular season into the Georgia game, even just looking at the Auburn game, what do you make of some of the differences in what you've seen from that group at the end of the season versus the beginning? And how do you feel like they'll respond to this challenge with Oklahoma?
Yeah, it's tapered off. Right about mid-season, I would say really the Tennessee game forward, it's been a struggle for Alabama offensively. The numbers are down. Ty Simpson's numbers are down. What are the reasons for that? Well, one is health. I mean, obviously this has been a banged up team. Kane Womack today admitted, the Alabama defensive coordinator, hey, this is the healthiest we've been since midseason. So that's when the injuries started piling up. That's one reason. I would say another reason is, and you guys know this as well as anybody playing in this league now, Alabama faced a lot of really good defenses the second half of the season. You come out of that bye week after Tennessee, and it's Blake Baker and LSU. That's a great defensive mind, a good defense. Harold Perkins, that crew. Then it's Oklahoma, who I think is one of the top 2 defenses, along with Ohio State, in the country this season. Brent Venables, as good of a defensive mind as there is. Then you play Auburn, and you think that's a break. Well, DJ Durkin's a high-quality defensive coordinator. Auburn's only given up more than 24 points one time all season. So that's the defense. And then Georgia in Atlanta at the end. So you're playing 4 quality defensive coordinators. Your team's banged up. Ty Simpson, the quarterback's banged up. Teams have a lot of tape on you by late in the season. I think you add all that up, and yes, Alabama's offensive production has been down. What Alabama's hoping for this Oklahoma game is having what amounts to that bye week after the Georgia game in Atlanta has given them the rest they badly needed, and this will be the healthiest they've been since that midseason point. They're hoping that's a big difference, but now instead of playing Oklahoma and Bryant-Denny, you're playing them in Norman. It's only going to be tougher.
No, that's a good point. And for Oklahoma on that defensive side, we're gotten healthier. R. Mason Thomas is expected to play. He's not on the list. And so now we get our best pass rusher to go along with those other terrorists on the defensive line that we've seen running around out there. And the rumors, of course, floating around of Ty Simpson being a little banged up. And I equate that, similarly to the John Mateer situation with his thumb, right? He has third thumb surgery, and he's been on one injury report since, and that was before the Texas game, and he hasn't been on one after that. After that game, he's literally not listed on anything, but he's dealing with ailments, and that's just one of those where your quarterback's going to play unless he physically cannot play. And so, to me, it's really going to be big on Cuevas. Like you said, he was the safety net. He was the guy that he would dump to whenever he needed to get rid of the ball. Jan Miller is one of your better pass blockers, so that's going to be critical if he's able to play. And he's so far been practicing. I've been seeing the video and everything from the beat being there at the practices or whatnot. He looks like he's going to play too. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they find ways to get the ball out of Ty Simpson's hands as fast as possible, especially with the way that this Oklahoma pass rush has been playing.
I think, guys, what's critical in this game for both teams, and you can see this coming. I mean, like a train coming down the tracks is the pressures that Oklahoma is able to get up front. It was a tremendous problem for Alabama the first time around. It's going to be possibly even worse because you didn't have R. Mason Thomas in the game at Bryant-Denny. Now you're going to have him in Norman. He's going to stress those Alabama tackles. I think how Alabama handles the pressures up front, whether it's the heavy blitzing, exotic blitzes, or just simply the pressure from those great pass rushing defensive ends, that's going to tell the story of this game. If Oklahoma is able to consistently pressure Ty Simpson, get ahead in the game, force Alabama to be behind the sticks, having to throw the ball more than they even want to, that's a huge benefit to Oklahoma, and it's going to happen. Hey, Oklahoma's going to have their successes. There's no question. You're not going to get those guys blocked for 60 minutes. But I think in terms of how this game will go is, can Alabama handle or at least limit to some extent the damage Oklahoma does with their front, and not just the front four. I mean, it's the front seven and the blitzes. Alabama has struggled with that at times. And Oklahoma's now watched a lot of film of that.
One key matchup to watch also, Jaden Jackson, Oklahoma's defensive tackle, excellent nose tackle. He only played 12 snaps in Tuscaloosa. He's healthier now going into this one. If Parker Brailsford is still a little bit limited with that high ankle sprain, Jackson, David Stone, Dominic Williams, Grayson Halton, that interior, they could potentially cause some problems. And we know what interior pass rush can do to a quarterback. We're going to talk about Alabama's great defense against Oklahoma's offense that's been an adventure this season, coming up here on a crossover edition of Locked On Bama and Locked On Sooners.
Hey, you ever felt like your money just disappears each month? it happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly your bank account doesn't match the numbers in your head, especially when you buy like a lot of t-shirts like your boy does. But Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job, even though it feels like a second job for me. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, and it's helped me out a lot, so you can save more and stress less. Like for me, I buy a lot of t-shirts, and I be trying to make sure that I'm not overspending too often. You noticed it. Y'all be watching the shows. You understand me and my t-shirt obsession. So me seeing my spending on the dashboard helps me to calm that down to where I only go for the ones that make the most sense, especially for the show. Plus, Rocket Money finds subscriptions you forgot you were paying for and helps you clean them up quickly. I mean, I got all kinds of stuff that I realize I don't need anymore. So take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. rocketmoney.com/locked on.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Bama and Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Also, you got to go check out the Everydayer program. What's that? Well, hey, we've got an opportunity for you to get ad-free access to all of your podcasts here on the Locked On Network, and you can get access to a members-only Discord for just $5 a month or $50 a year over at lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Again, it's $5 a month, $50 a year. You get all your episodes ad-free on the audio side, and you get to chat with all of the Everydayers from every show around the Locked On Network. Got to go check that out. As we talk about Oklahoma's offense against Alabama's defense, Jay, what do you think is going to be key in this one for the Sooners?
The most critical thing for Oklahoma is figuring out how to establish a run. The good thing is that Oklahoma has had 3 weeks of time off, whereas Bama had to play that game against Georgia. Now, I mean, they've had about a week and 6 days, so going on 2 weeks of rest, and everybody can recuperate and get back going. They also have to travel, so that does weigh in on the body just because of sleep just in itself, not sleeping in foreign places. But for Oklahoma, having those 3 weeks to really get everybody recovered, Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock should be healthy. The expectation right now on the availability report is probable for Javonte Barnes to play. We anticipate that he's going to be out there for some pass downs now that his red shirt's not going to be wasted. And so because of that, I think that the run game is going to be critical. Now, Jake Michael is on here as questionable, the starting center. Last game against LSU, we moved Febechi Wewu to the center spot, and he played fantastic in the game. He actually was a little bit higher rated than he was as right guard. And then you had another true freshman in Ryan Fogier at guard, and then Derek Simmons at right tackle. So the offensive line assembly is not as bad. You're getting back Jake Taylor as well as Jacob Sexton, who were supposed to be guys that were slated to play a lot this year, but they've literally been on the shelf the entire season. They're no longer on the list. So it's kind of interesting to see that Oklahoma's gotten actually healthier now in comparison to what they've been this entire year. But the young pups have done a good job. So we'll kind of see where that goes. But to me, it's really establishing the run. Plus, John Mateer's going to have to use his legs better. And hopefully that knee deal is out and he's able to run. If he's able to scramble and move around really good, or just break and make some runs, he can stress that Bama defense a little bit more than they're going to be prepared to handle.
Alabama at times has struggled with athletic quarterbacks. I mean, the quarterback run has been something that's dogged Alabama a little bit this year, a lot last year. We all remember what Jackson Arnold did for the Sooners against Alabama a year ago, especially in the first half of that game. Alabama has struggled a little bit under Kane Womack in dealing with those athletic quarterbacks. So Mateer making plays with his legs is something everybody needs to watch for. I think both teams, struggle to run the ball. I mean, you just look at the numbers, and the numbers speak for themselves. Now both teams are playing against an elite defense. Notice that, Oklahoma's given up one 100-yard game to a running back all season long, way back in September to Justice Haynes at Michigan. That's the only 100-yard game against Oklahoma all season. Alabama hasn't given up many of them either. I think it's a fair expectation that both teams will struggle to have a lot of success running the ball. But you don't have to have a ton of success. I don't think Oklahoma's got to have backs that rush for 100 yards against Alabama or vice versa. You just need to have some success in moving the chains and keeping the ball. If you can keep the ball, possess the ball, give a playmaker, whether it's Satania outside for Oklahoma or Ryan Williams or Jeremy Bernard outside for Alabama, the more snaps you have, the more likely it is that eventually they break loose. We saw in the LSU game, how big that was at the end. I know these two defenses and both teams struggling to run the ball. I'm anticipating a game that looks quite a bit like the Alabama-Oklahoma game the first time around, a 2-point game that could go to anybody in the fourth quarter. I think low scoring and just 2 or 3 points are going to decide this game.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those who wins 2 of the 3 phases, because it's going to be a 3-phase football game. It's not going to be one side dominating the other, whether even Alabama's offense with the playmakers that they have. I don't think that they're as connected offensively as we've seen Alabama offenses look in the past, or even Kalen DeBoer offenses look in the past. I think there's still some things that they're working through, especially because they can't get a run game going. It limits a lot of what they want to do, but Oklahoma offensively just hasn't been able to find a lot of consistency since earlier in the season. They found explosives. That's been really critical to their success, especially here late in the season. If Alabama can limit those explosives, that's going to be really daunting for Oklahoma to overcome if they don't get turnovers on defense.
I think just look at the scores in the last few games. The Oklahoma scores 23 in Tuscaloosa, 17 against Missouri, 17 against LSU. I think we have a pretty good idea of where Oklahoma's going to end up here, right? Somewhere between 17 and 23 points.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the way Alabama played in Atlanta, and it's fair for Alabama fans or Oklahoma fans to say, how's Alabama going to get to 17 or 23? You can only score 7 against Georgia and Atlanta, and Oklahoma is just as good or even better on defense than the Georgia Bulldogs are. It's going to be a low-scoring, tight, very physical game. Both teams trying to establish a run that they really haven't been able to establish all year long against one of the better defenses you'll face all year. I think in the end, it's going to come down to special teams, which were so big for Oklahoma the first time around, a sound victory for Oklahoma over Alabama in the special teams. If that happens again, huge advantage Oklahoma. And who's going to make a play outside? And which quarterback is going to be able to help manufacture a big play? Because it may just take one in the fourth quarter to decide the game.
Yeah, to me, it's going to be really going to be the special teams. I think field positioning is going to be critical. Whoever puts the team in the better field positioning is going to be a critical. And then who makes those field goals when those field goal opportunities come up there. I know that we got the Lou Groza award winner, so we're very excited about Tate Titanium Leg Sandell, aka Legatron. We really are excited about what he's going to be able to provide in this game. And so we just hope that he can maintain his consistency. And so, yeah, I think it's going to really come down, as you said, John. It's going to be who can win 2 to 3 phases. If it's offense and special teams, if it's offense and defense, or defense and special, it's going to be 2 phases. It's going to be what's going to win this game. I'm hoping that Oklahoma, what they're going to need to do is that defense is going to have to really step up in this game, like step up. And the same thing goes for the kicking game. The kicking and the punting is going to be critical, because it's going to be a lot of possessions most likely, or if you do it right, you burn enough clock and you keep punting each team into like the 20 and under, and you're forcing them to really drive the entire field. That to me feels like a more likely scenario in both of these. Both teams get closer to the 50 and then have to punt it off, just because I know that both defenses is going to be really up for this game. It's going to be important for, like I said, for them to make sure that the field positioning and the location of the ball isn't in prime position. And then, of course, got to talk turnovers. And I don't know what that's going to look like. The team that's the most careful with the ball should win, but hell, we just watched Oklahoma do this against LSU, throw 3 picks and still somehow pull out the victory. I don't think that would happen with Alabama, even though LSU has a really good secondary. But you still got to be careful in that as well, right? You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're throwing picks and you have to chase dudes down or run them down at the 5-yard line, because I don't think Ty Simpson is going to throw a pick on the next play.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the exact same thing, Jay. Go ahead.
That number 3 is big, right? I mean, in the sense that Oklahoma, created 3 turnovers against Alabama, a huge part of their win in Tuscaloosa. Then John Mateer throws 3 interceptions against LSU. Alabama's not great on offense, but they're a lot more dangerous than LSU is playing with their backup quarterback. If Oklahoma turns over the ball 3 times with Alabama, that game's going to go the other way. So either team that turns it over 3 times, you can forget it.
Let's get into our final keys for the game and predictions coming up next here on Locked On Bama, Locked On Sooners. It's a Locked On crossover edition. The holidays always show up faster than we expect, and if you're still putting together gifts, last-minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need fast. Wayfair truly is your one-stop shop for everything home, with decor, furniture, kitchen essentials, and gifts for every style and every budget, all delivered quickly and easily. Their selection is huge. Bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids' rooms updates. We've just been updating our kids' rooms. They've had to share a room for a time. Now we got them back in their own spots. And we've been checking out ways to make their rooms homier, give them some places to sit and read books. And Wayfair's got everything that you're looking for. My wife and I were shopping for couches. So, we got to go check out Wayfair because they've got great options available for you. No massive delivery fees and no stress. It's the best way to get your home holiday ready without running around to different stores. So get last minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Once again, thanks for making Locked On Bama, Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the shows wherever you get your podcasts. Jay, let's start with you. What is the key to the game for the Oklahoma Sooners?
The biggest thing is keeping Ty Simpson moving. Force him out of the pocket. Don't let him feel comfortable. He needs to see ghosts. The more ghosts he sees at night in Norman at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, the better off Oklahoma is. So whatever Brent Venables wants to do, I know he's known for being very diverse in the type of blitzes he does, very exotic sometimes. Random dudes will run at him. They're going to have to be consistent with that. And make sure that Ty Simpson is constantly guessing, because I don't have any. I have faith that this defense will handle the run game just fine. Jan Miller is still a little banged up. Daniel Hill can be a really good back whenever he's going, but I know that with Jaden Jackson coming back and R. Mason Thomas, you get 2 of your even stronger run stuffers. It's going to be really on the arm of Ty Simpson. If you can hold him similar to the way Georgia did in the conference championship game, you got a great chance of just closing this out with a simple score and just simply walking out of there with a W. You got to make sure Ty Simpson stays on the ground most of the game.
Jimmy, what about you? What do you think the key is for the Alabama Crimson Tide?
It's 2 keys. I think is handling the pressures that you're going to get from Oklahoma's front. If they're overwhelmed by that, there's going to be too many negative plays for Alabama to overcome. There's got to be a plan that they can execute to handle the pressures up front. Secondly is going to be turnovers. There were 3 by Alabama in the game in Tuscaloosa. 3 interceptions that Jalen Milroe threw the last trip into Norman. If Alabama turns over the ball 3 times again, they're not going to beat Oklahoma. If Alabama plays like they did offensively against Georgia, they're not going to beat Oklahoma. But a healthier team, a team that doesn't turn over the ball, and if they can handle the pressures, they'll have a chance. This game was really tight the first time around. I'm expecting no different this time around.
I got to see John Mateer, the playmaker, this time. I got to see John Mateer finally kind of put some things together during this 3 weeks off, where he's had more opportunities to just get back, throw with his wide receivers, redevelop the chemistry that he had, and go be the playmaker. Go be the guy that can hit guys down the field. I know Oklahoma fans don't want to hear me say take some chances. You got to push the ball down the field from time to time. You've got speed on the outside with Deion Burks, Isaiah Satania. You got to push the ball, and you got to find ways to get Jaren Kanak involved. We've seen what Josh Cuevas can do to Oklahoma's defense. Jaren Kanak, when he gets involved in the offense and he gets targeted a bunch, he's a chain mover, and he's kind of your possession receiver. So find ways to get him involved. It's going to be tough sledding for both teams in this one. And so whoever is able to convert more on 3rd down can win the first down battle, can win the special teams battle. I think is going to have a chance to win this one. It's a coin flip for me, but as we go into prediction mode, Jimmy, we'll let you start it off here. What do you think What's the score going to be?
I think a game that's going to look very similar to the game in Tuscaloosa. Points will be hard to come by. I think they will come mostly via big play. I don't think either team's going to be able to sustain a lot of drives against the other. I'm going to pick Alabama to win, thinking that they reverse the turnover curse that's hurt them against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's as good as anybody at forcing these turnovers. It's not like even in the first game, Alabama just handed the ball to Oklahoma. Oklahoma forces these turnovers. They're as good as doing that as anyone. But this time, Alabama wins the turnover battle. I like Alabama to win 21-20.
Ooh, similar to last game. I like that is good. That's good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and go on the opposite, of course. I think Oklahoma does pull out the victory at the house, the three-time victory in the last 2 years on my Bama friends. But I think it's gonna be a little bit more of a gap. I think Oklahoma pulls it 20-10. I think that they pull away late, just a random late turnover that leads to something. It could be a defensive touchdown, I don't know, or it could lead them into an area where they can score to really put it away. But I think that it's going to go all the way to the fourth quarter before we really get it determined. Give me my Sooners 20-10. I don't think I'm going to be as good as I was last time when I said 23-21 and hit it on the nail again. But I'm going to go ahead and say 20-10 this time.
You never want a game to come down to kickers unless you've got Oklahoma's kicker, Lou Groza award winner. And I think this is going to be one of those games that comes down to kickers because both defenses are good. Both offenses have enough talent to get the ball to the other side of the 50, get it into the green zone, into kicking range. But Oklahoma's got the best kicker in the country in Tate Sandell. And that's where I think the game is won or lost for Alabama. And I'm saying 19-16. I think it's going to be a 3-point game based on which kicker is able to make the most field goals. Now, I know that's a boring idea for a lot of football fans.
Defense, baby.
We support special teams here on the Locked On Network. Special teamers matter too. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup, man. And the college football playoff, I know there's been a lot of discussion and argument about how many teams, the right amount of teams. All I care about is watching more good football. And this Friday night, we get to watch another great football matchup between two blue blood programs, Jimmy.
This is exactly what the college football playoff people had in mind when they go to 12 teams, a game on campus in Norman, two of the great brands in the history of college football. The world is going to be watching. There's no NFL games Friday night. The world is going to be the number that they pull TV ratings wise is going to be huge. It's not lost on Alabama fans, the struggles with Oklahoma. You lose this game, you've lost Oklahoma 3 times in 13 months. It will be oft discussed in Tuscaloosa if that happens. But boy, what a matchup for people who aren't Alabama fans or Oklahoma fans. They're in for a treat too. The field will be littered with future NFL players. Great matchup, and it's going to be tight. One point that John made that I want to address is a really good point is because of how good Tate Sandell is, Oklahoma is in scoring range when Alabama is not. That could end up being a difference.
True. It's a very good point.
Jay, how excited are you for this home playoff environment that we get to have in Norman?
Oh, it's going to be huge. Just the fact Jimmy said it best. This is what they thought of when they went to 12. I really wish they would have made the first 2 rounds home games on actual campuses and only had the semifinals for those bowl games. Save those other bowl games that they're using up now. Let them still have existence and purpose for the other teams out there in college football. But having these games on campus, man, you feel the college footballness of it. It feels and with these 2 big brands out there playing, I'm really lost for words on the excitement that I truly do have in Alabama coming to Norman. I mean, this was second time in 2 years, of course, but before that, it was early 2000s since we saw Alabama come into Norman. And so being able to have these 2 massive brands, the TV ratings are going to be absurd. It's not going to be the fireworks everybody's going to want. It's going to be a lot of firecrackers with the hits that's going to be seen on both sides of the ball because you're going to see 2 defensive teams really battle it out and just see which offense figures out how to move forward. And so, no, I'm excited. And I know that everyone in Norman is just juiced up for this game. Everybody's just jacked up on Mountain Dew, ready to go. So we all expect, I mean, heck, they shut down schools and stuff in Norman for the day on Friday. So yeah, we all in. And so it's going to be awesome. Just going to be an awesome environment, even though it'll be a little chilly, a little windy, but it's going to be an awesome environment overall.
It's going to be like the right football weather. Like, I don't need the Big Ten football weather where it's like a foot of snow on the ground and it's minus 15 degrees. I'm too old for that. I like the 50-degree weather, a little bit of a breeze, that kind of thing. That's fall football to me, but it's going to be an electric, iconic atmosphere for this matchup. And it's going to be a treat for sports fans in general. I know Oklahoma and Alabama fans will be stressing a whole lot more about the outcome of this one, but everybody else is going to be able to just sit back and enjoy the ride that happens on Friday night in Norman. But that's going to do it for this Locked On crossover edition of Locked On Bama, Locked On Sooners. Make sure you go check out Locked On Bama and subscribe to that show wherever you get your podcasts. Hit them up on social media as well. Follow us and subscribe to Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcasts. Go check out Jimmy's work at QB_country. You can follow Jay at Unfair Sports and me at John 9 Williams. But until we meet again, which who knows when that's going to be? 2 years down the road, I think is the next time on the schedule.
2027.
It'll be a while, not next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, you'll see Jimmy's face on the squad editions, and I'm sure we'll have other crossovers throughout the year as well. But for football, this is the last time we'll hear from him. So, but again, go check out Locked On Bama, Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Till next time, he's Jay, he's Jimmy, I'm John. It's the 3 J's.
Boomer Sooner.
Roll Tide.
No Tide.